The power of human potential is demonstrated as random pioneers gather and fight together to overcome great adversity. Lucan's weak point is revealed to be light, and the group works together to take it down. Akitsu Akane reveals a rare ninja skill that allows him to breathe dragon fire, albeit on a smaller scale. The bunny with the big sword intercepts Lucan's alter ego, while Sickle's sword creates a small forest of sharp bamboo sticks. As the fight continues, the beginner player watches in awe. In the godly game Shangri-La Frontier, the players can breathe dragon fire. Lucan, the monstrous enemy, was no match for the protagonist's crystal gauntlets. They weakened Lucan's legs, allowing for the diving Suzaku to pierce them with ease. And with the ability to store moonlight and convert it into raw power, the protagonist launched a crushing blow. However, this ability came with disadvantages such as recoil damage and a week-long cooldown period. Despite holding back on using this trump card, the protagonist unleashes an ultimate attack to take down Lucan, utilizing the power of a golden crystal scorpion's core. With the spider's web called Operation Exterminate Lucan leading to the final blow, the protagonist obliterates the monstrous enemy. As the right uppercut lands on Lucan's jaw, a crystal spike pierces the opponent's mouth. The energy released is so powerful that it tears the knight's fabric apart. Despite being weakened, Lucan still manages to surprise the protagonist with a massive energy blast that sends him flying. Fighting the unbearable pain and numbness throughout his body, the protagonist tries to regain his balance and take a recovery potion. However, his metal helmet prevents him from drinking, causing him to worry if he will survive. Thankfully, Akitsu Akane saves him from a potentially embarrassing death, and they both retreat to prepare for the strongest attack in Shangri-La Frontier. As the battle rages on with Night Prowler Lucan, the power of Tenma is unleashed. A combination of the catastrophe skill of Satan and the overwhelming destruction of Sataniel's apocalypse, this skill is a true trump card. Its raw destructive power cannot be matched by anything in this world. As Lucan is pushed to the brink of defeat, Saiga Zero unleashes her ultimate assault, Armageddon. A torrent of black and white energy rains down upon the battlefield, threatening the existence of the very fabric of the world itself. When the last wave of destruction subsides, the remains of Lucan still stand, but it eventually disappears for good. As the players celebrate their victory, they hear a bunny's warning that Lucan is still present, mocking their efforts to defeat it. Despite the unique reward of earning the title of Kaguru and obtaining the divine light of guidance, Saiga Zero is left feeling unsure of their victory and is presented with a new quest to extinguish the darkness with the light of courage. They did it, and all the tension vanished in that single victorious moment. Thanks to the Black Wolves Ace's help, a new unique quest X was opened. The past cannot be lingered on, and there are new challenges ahead. They look at the quest window, seeking an explanation. A small flame called Guiding Light appears, showing directions towards the Emperor of the Night. The radar remains to be tested. They must find Lucan's home with no guidance, and it feels like there's something watching them. Determined, they demand the curse be lifted. They want to equip their armor as there's shame in being naked. The protagonist worries about attracting attention while running around half-naked in a city. Their target is Infithia, a city with a large population. They decide to wear normal clothes if possible. Suddenly, an enemy appears, Lucan, a unique monster. The protagonist recalls that Lucan is a natural enemy of Vorpal bunnies and is known to act too intelligent for a mere monster. After a long silence, Lucan agrees to let the protagonist put on clothes. However, Lucan attacks and throws the protagonist into the air. After landing, the protagonist checks their status and equipment. They have a curse mark from defeating Lucan's alter ego and cannot change classes. The mark gives additional dialogue lines with NPCs, but any armor worn on the marked body part will be destroyed over time. Despite wanting to end the event on a positive note, Lucan's additional equipment destruction condition and enhancements to the curse left the protagonist in a state of mixed despair and desperation. However, with the help of Ray, they were able to face their next challenge, the surfing dragon. Yet, they realized that they had exhausted all of their tricks in their previous fight, leaving them with none to spare. With an appointment early the next day, the protagonist needed to act fast to secure a checkpoint in town, reorganize their equipment, buy supplies, get food, and take care of their real-world body before logging out. Time was running out. Will they make it in time to reinforce their weapons before it's too late? The party fights the Usurper Dragon, a tough boss that can fly and steal magic. Despite their struggles, they manage to defeat it with the help of Ray's guidance. Afterwards, they arrive at Fiftesia, a gateway to a new continent. This is the final destination for all players who began their journey in Firstia. As the sun rises over the sea, they are filled with wonder and excitement for the uncharted territory ahead. In this chunk of text, our hero, a holy knight who was reincarnated by the gods to exact revenge on his arch-nemesis, Lucan, is accompanied by his friends. They are approached by Akanum, the awakened guru, who can grant players who have reached level 99 a special item called Mysterium Arcanum that can unlock a special job. The hero decides to draw a card and ends up with the Fool Arcana, which cuts skill recast time in half, but increases the damage the hero receives. The group continues their journey, encountering various challenges and enemies along the way. Sanraku and Emul discuss the benefits of possessing the Fool Arcana, despite the risks involved in challenging powerful opponents. Meanwhile, Saiga Zero reflects on the recent events of the night, including the disappearance of the awakened guru and Sanraku's impressive achievements in the game. She considers whether to tell her sister about their victory over Lucan, knowing that it could lead to another dangerous pursuit. As they log out for the night, Saiga Zero realizes that being with Sanraku is truly fun and memorable. The armored knight rose from the pile of rubble and made her way through town, receiving only strange, scared looks from NPCs. She remembered that Akitsu Akane was still present and asked if they should head to rabbits like Sanraku had. Saiga Zero was ecstatic, but they were lacking members for the upcoming global game competition. They received an email from Madara Katsu asking them to come and decided to go. 2 players went to the harbor area to meet with Sanraku, but were uncertain as to how to find him. Suddenly, a half-naked birdman approached them and greeted them. The protagonist wakes up to a sea of metal and skyscrapers in the dark sector of Chaos City. Their metal armor, containing the power of Galaxius, makes a dull sound with every step and can only be removed by destroying the person who gave it to them or forcing them to remove it. The victory condition is to secure the Chaos Cube or defeat the opposing hero. The protagonist chooses the latter and prepares for battle. In the deep sea ruins, they face barnacle zombies and mermaids with the ability to mimic human appearance. With their partner, they improvise and climb the roof to avoid the swarm of enemies below. The zombies form a flesh ladder to chase them, causing the protagonist to realize they are the servants of the Lords of the Abyss. After cutting through the mermaids, they finally reach the captain and prepare for the real fun. The window exhibition explodes, scattering glass and plastic everywhere. NPCs scream to evacuate and call the authorities. The cause of the explosion is the protagonist, whose ability is to assimilate damaged objects into weapons and armor. The protagonist faces a formidable opponent in a virtual reality game. In another part of the game, the protagonist and their fishman ally fight against monstrous enemies, but the arena becomes overrun and they must retreat. The protagonist cannot help but wonder how they ended up in this situation. After enduring several intense battles, the protagonist realizes that his armor crumbles to dust after only 3 minutes. Although he feels bad about wasting the producer's time and effort in creating armor, he acknowledges that, in short, armor only serves as a stat buff. However, he is glad that he can finally utilize equipment for both his legs and torso during battles. though it does take a toll on his finances. As he walks around the town, feeling like a caffeine-deprived zombie, he hopes that his state won't cause a panic. As the protagonist makes his way towards the slaughter docks, he notices a pair of contrasting players, a chibi archer named Rust and a burly mage named Mold. The Dark Elf mage's physique is more suited for a warrior, but he seems to have beaten a unique monster named Night Prowler Lucan. The abandoned lodgings in Fifth Seer attract all sorts of rouges. The protagonist is running for a new world record of time elapsed between entering the wreckage and meeting the first NPC. He hides his talking mimicry ability until they reach the city, but feels burdened by the secret. Despite the astonishment of others at Emul, the talking monster, the protagonist, is already focused on his next move. The events of the week that follows leave him feeling like he wants to die. Upon receiving an email about a gaming competition, the protagonist initially thought it was spam. However, after recognizing the familiar style of writing, the protagonist confirmed its authenticity. Seeking clarification, the protagonist reached out to Pencilton, the smartest person in their guild, Wolfgang. The conversation was brief, with Pencilton revealing that the email was about the Global Gaming Competition, GGC, a huge event introducing numerous existing and upcoming games. Shanfro, an exceptional game of unparalleled game development, was the reason the convention was being held in Japan. The protagonist was recruited by Katsu to participate in an exhibition match at GGC. The protagonist didn't have anything pressing to do and accepted the invitation. Excitedly, the protagonist realized that they would have the chance to meet two celebrities in real life. The group discusses their plan to verify the unique quest flag for punching the Apostle of the Abyss, given by the NPC self-proclaimed Great Pirate Staud. Rust reveals her high STR, which allows her to easily defeat NPCs. However, assaulting them would lead to negative karma. They speculate that the quest involves hunting down the ghost ship. Mold criticizes the pirates' shittiness, reminding them of a similar character in Shit Chronicles Online. Suddenly, the great pirate Staud appears, introducing himself and causing the group to suspect that the quest will be a major pain. The protagonist comes face to face with a stereotypical pirate, complete with messy hair, a plaster on his cheek, and an overinflated ego. Despite Rust's provocation, the group keeps their cool while the pirate tries to avoid direct eye contact with the protagonist. The pirate reveals that he wants their help in hunting down the infamous ghost ship, and Strood shares his personal vendetta against the ship. The protagonist ponders about the monsters aboard the ship and accepts the unique quest punching the Apostle of the Abyss without hesitation. After meeting with pirates and observing their preparations for departure, the protagonist, Sanraku, reflects on the potential danger posed by the ghost ship they plan to confront. With the help of his curse marks, Sanraku intimidates the pirates and marvels at the ship's unique weaponry. As they prepare for a sea battle, Sanraku explains the challenges of fighting on a ship, but assures his companions that he has a strategy. Suddenly, the group is transported to a mysterious location, leaving them confused and disoriented. Akitsu Akana stays in Fifth Seer for sightseeing, enjoying the game's virtual reality. He is offered a unique quest, which is usually given to those who accomplish great things. Akitsu Akane is puzzled as to why he would receive it just for sightseeing. However, he and Sickle decide to accept the quest. Unknowingly, they are still part of the same party from the Lucan battle, and the leader's acceptance of the quest triggers it for all party members. Suddenly, macho men appear, taking Akitsu Akane and Sickle away in a barrel. Sega Zero struggles to leave her current party with Sanraku and the Vorpal bunnies, despite the need to return to her guild. Her hesitation is illustrated by her spinning fingers until she finally decides to separate from her party. However, in her attempt to leave the party, she accidentally accepts a unique quest to punch the Apostle of the Abyss. Her party members are abruptly transported and loaded into barrels before they can even comprehend what's happening. Sega Zero realizes that they will now be involved in this quest, alongside the battle against the night prowler Lucan. The chaos is further complicated by the addition of 2 new party members. The protagonist ponders how the unique quest he's working on could easily be corrupted by 2 players who had him in a bind for information. He lacks the courage to tell them to leave and regrets their joining. However, he can't deny that they have some use in the current quest. Despite some misgivings, the party boards the pirate ship Scarred Whale and sets sail. The protagonist can't help but admire the cool flag of the pirates, even though their ship is small and not very impressive. The group marvels at the mechanics of the game, particularly the physics of the ship's movement. The author posits that the game compromises certain aspects of reality to avoid overheating computers and to satisfy players who enjoy nitpicking details. As they fish, the sky suddenly darkens, and clouds gather unnaturally around the ship. The NPCs and players alike prepare for the arrival of the ghost ship, which materializes in a dramatic display of light and water. Despite their fear, the captain rallies his crew to battle the monsters on board. The Crying Innsman, a ship in disrepair, approach the group at a lightning pace, causing chaos on deck due to the stormy seas. Despite trying to keep their balance, 2 members of the group were struggling. The pirates prepared to engage in combat as the ghost ship drew closer, revealing its horrifying crew of sea monsters. Some NPCs were terrified, but the protagonist used shock therapy to snap them out of it. The captain urged his crew to toughen up and fight like pirates. The protagonist saved Strood from falling off the ship by giving him some slaps. As he wielded his sword, which used to be a swamp dagger, but had been enhanced with better materials, he reflected on the importance of upgrading and enhancing equipment. The group faced off against fishmen and the approaching Crying Innsman ship, while the protagonist prepared to face the quest boss, known as the Apostle of the Abyss. Emul aided in the battle as the protagonist slashed away at the monsters. The intensity of the battle was reflected in the darkening sky and the roaring thunder. To survive on board the Crying Innsman, the protagonist fought off the attacking fish people with their rusted weapons. Despite being outnumbered, the protagonist's agility and sword skills helped them evade and counter-attack. Rust, a fellow player, provided ranged support with her magic bow and arrows. As the battle continued, they learned that the quest was meant for a larger party and that the captain, a strange and rotten creature, awaited them. The protagonist wondered how they would defeat this formidable foe. Ray, an armor-clad knight, joins the battle with a sledgehammer in hand. As the deck shakes and trembles, they face off against the eel-like monster and its fishman followers. The protagonist shows off their skills, taking down the fishman and aiding Ray in battle. With the eel's neck cut and the fishman defeated, they turn their attention to the captain. The protagonist activates their attack skills and delivers 3 deadly slashes. Little do they know, this is where the quest takes a turn for the interesting. Despite the seemingly easy success of their mission, the protagonist couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. Could it be a trap? As they face waves of monsters aboard a ghost ship, they quickly realize that this is nothing more than a dreaded escort mission. With the designated NPC, the self-proclaimed Great Pirate Strood, being more of a hindrance than a help, the protagonist and their allies have their work cut out for them. In order to complete the mission and keep Strood safe, they must fight tooth and nail against the horde of fishmen. With their quick thinking and battle prowess, they manage to divert the fishman's attention from Strood and ensure his safe passage. It may have been a cliché mission, but sometimes even the most dreaded tasks can bring about unexpected triumphs. The party faced a group of fish zombies while carefully executing their plan. Ray took care of the small fries, while the rest focused on the eel captain. Everything seemed under control until Akitsu Akane arrived, causing a strange time lag to occur. Soon after, the party encountered the legendary sea monster Kutanid of the Abyss, pulling them into its underwater domain. The quest was now upgraded to Eek's difficulty, and the world turned upside down. The protagonist wakes up on the damaged ghost ship and finds himself surrounded by fishmen and strange new enemies. He realizes that he must have fainted during a unique Quest X, and that he now has a limited time of 7 days to complete it. As he explores the mysterious underground city, he discovers new items and equipment that will aid him in his quest. With the safety of his companions in mind, the protagonist is determined to complete the mission and find a safe zone. With priorities set, the protagonist searches for a safe haven. As they land on strange greenish ground, they wonder if there's a logical explanation for the underwater city. Though peaceful, the closed buildings emit a strange smell. Suddenly, mutated fish-like creatures pour out and the protagonist retreats. Fighting alone against so many would be a suicide. In this full-dive VR game, Cosmo Buster, memories and experience are crucial to success. Our protagonist finds himself in a situation reminiscent of one of the game's endgame phases, the Allied Army's withdrawal battle. But this game is not like the others, controlling his avatar with his body movements, not just a controller. The player must display endurance and tactics to outlast the mobs. Despite their numbers, the AI can only handle so much. Our hero taunts them, hoping they won't resort to using poison gas. This is a battle of wits, not just brawn. The protagonist manages to escape from the monsters and surveys the surrounding area from the rooftop of a nearby building. Spotting a citadel and 4 towers, he assumes that capturing them is necessary to reach the boss. Despite searching for other players and save rooms, he finds none. As he moves through the rooftops, he notices a strange creature running away from fishmen, wielding intelligence and bizarre behavior. He decides to intercept it and discovers that it's a shark-squid hybrid. The hybrid speaks to him, revealing its capacity for communication, but the protagonist must flee from encroaching fishmen. Despite his confusion, he takes a drink offered by the hybrid, grateful for its assistance. The encounter with a sentient creature in this underwater city was unexpected. Sanraku and Alva continued running, taking out any fishmen that crossed their path. The NPC Alva was surprised by Sanraku's bird mask, but was grateful for his help. As they climbed the rubble, Sanraku pulled Alva up to safety, just as fishmen approached. However, a mermaid appeared, attacking them with a siren's song. Alva was affected and in pain, but the mermaid didn't make any further moves. Sanraku used his skills to jump towards the mermaid. The protagonist shows off his new skill, Gravity Zero, which allows him to ignore gravity for 10 seconds and move more freely. He easily approaches and kills the mermaid boss, causing the other mermaids to become enraged. Alva, the protagonist's partner, transforms into a shark and scares them off. The two then learn they're in a submarine city called Luluilas, which is filled with the power of inversion that allows them to breathe normally. As they ponder their next move, something falls from the sky, which turns out to be marine snow. The protagonist wonders if he's up to the challenge of navigating this mysterious city. The protagonist prioritizes information over bunnies. The key information they have so far is that the city is like a game of hide and seek, where buildings serve as safe zones. The fishmen and mermaids will chase and debuff anyone they find, so the protagonist decides to find a good hiding spot and learns more from their ally, Alva. Alva's tribe, the Mammon, used to be allies with the others until Kutanid came and twisted their minds during the inversion process. There's no way to stop the fish people from multiplying, and the Citadel holds mini-bosses like Clyonia, who can seal away all magic. Kutanid, the almost transcendent being in the abyss, can invert anything he wants. The protagonist has a lot to prepare for and considers the potential of Battle Royale mode. The tropical island that was once above sea level is now underwater due to Kutanid's inversion ability. To meet Kutanid, one must play his twisted games, as he only invites those he deems worthy. The protagonist learns about someone who actually managed to confront and pierce Kutanid's left eye, his own grandfather. To face Kutanid himself, the protagonist must defeat 4 mini-bosses and overcome the added battle gimmicks. Running through the city, the protagonist attracts the attention of numerous fish people and mermaids. Despite their beauty, they are monsters, and the protagonist kicks and slices them apart. The mermaids' curses have no effect on him thanks to Lucan's curse marks. Despite gathering their attention, fighting them becomes futile as they come endlessly without stopping. The protagonist needs to find his companions and resorts to a special attack of hiding and listening for distant sounds on the water. He calls out and receives a response, "Sanakusa-san!" The hero faced a difficult task as he dealt with a horde of monsters chasing him. However, he quickly lost them as he caused them to lose sight of him. Following a voice he heard, he discovered it was Emul, a friend in trouble. Remembering a powerful magic called Random Encounter, he hoped it could help in their predicament. However, with the island now at the bottom of the sea and the range of the magic unknown, they were uncertain if it would work. As Emul cried out for help, the hero hoped for a level 100 celestial dragon to save them. But instead, a fearsome dragon train hybrid appeared, and they had no chance of defeating it alone. With quick thinking, the hero grabbed Emul and activated their skills to increase their speed and acceleration, using burnout to outpace the dragon thing's jaws. The hero urged Emul to hold on tight as they fled from danger. With a resounding scream, the MC understood the stranger's intention. Burnout was a powerful weapon, granting the user a speed boost like no other. In the heat of battle, the MC equipped their weapons and skillfully sliced through their foes, even sending out decoys to throw off their enemies. Upon their return to the safety of their temporary base, the MC introduced their new ally, a fish-like creature named Alva. Although the group was afraid of him, the MC assured them he was an ally. As the MC prepared to head back into the fray, one member of the group balked at their fearless nature. But the MC was undeterred, knowing that their pioneer soul craved danger and adventure. With bravery as their guiding light, the MC went forth to defeat a powerful dragon creature, emerging victorious in the end. Though apprehensive, the protagonist managed to defeat the monster with the help of Kutanid's power. The creature moved eerily, but it wasn't as tough as other monsters encountered in the past. However, each body slam could have been fatal if not for the protagonist's quick thinking. The battle lasted long, but the protagonist ultimately succeeded in taking down the monster alone. The protagonist wondered if the monster was weakened beforehand, or if the fishmen were carrying poison. Regardless, the monster's defeat yielded an abundant amount of loot. The protagonist couldn't help but feel like a gold digger with all the loot and resources he'd acquired, imagining all the things he could buy with them. But his evil laughter was interrupted by the arrival of Rust and Sickle, who had come to check out the commotion caused by the defeated Arctus Regilex. The protagonist reassured them that Emil was safe, and admitted he hadn't used the Maker to defeat the monster due to recharge time. The group admired the intricate details of the game, comparing it favorably to previous games lacking the same level of detail. The protagonist contemplated the taste of the defeated monster and wondered if there was a real-life equivalent. But just as he blinked, the scenery changed miraculously, thanks to Kutanid of the Abyss, whose power could even interfere with the game's system. Sanraku is on his way to the capital and reflects on his recent battle. He worries about the 7-day time limit, but is determined to finish the quest soon. Akane and Mold won't be able to join him on certain days, but they plan to take Kutanid down on the 7th day. Rei didn't show up, but Sanraku hopes she will manage on her own, as the VR system will log her out after prolonged playtime. Sanraku stays at a luxurious hotel, and when Katsu arrives, Sanraku is surprised to see the charismatic model, Amaene-sama. Sanraku fears that Her Highness Towa Amane will grope his face all night long. Amane Towa and Sanraku meet with Womi Kei and Natsume Megumi for the upcoming GGC tournament. Amane is wearing a gas mask, which causes Womi to comment on its oddity. They discuss their roles in the upcoming match and meet the team they will face, Star Rain. Natsume-san doubts the gaming prowess of the world-famous model and the gas mask-wearing fellow, but Katsu assures her they're more than adequate. While it's rude to assume he can get more wins against Katsu, Natsume-san is amazed to learn he could win 4 duels out of 10 against him. The team they'll be facing the day after tomorrow is Star Rain, one of the strongest teams in the United States. Katsu believes their 4 can win, and shows pictures of their opponents, including Sylvia Goldberg, the strongest professional gamer in the United States. Sylvia Goldberg is a highly skilled professional gamer who has never lost a single round in her career. She is part of the best gaming team in the United States, Zodiac Cluster, and leads her own division called Star Rain. However, a new game called Galaxia Heroes, Chaos will be released, and the Japanese team, led by professional gamer Uomi Kei, believes they have an advantage since it is based on a Japanese-only game called Shanfro. With only 2 days to prepare, the team must devise a strategy to defeat Sylvia and her team. Katsu explains to Sanraku that the character Sylvia in the game has a playstyle similar to his own. The protagonist, Meteors, is likely to choose Sanraku during their match in 2 days. Katsu shows them the character and explains that Sylvia will likely be saved for last to showcase the game's features. The others on their team will be supporting Sylvia, while Sanraku's role is to keep the other team's players in check. Katsu wants them to try out the game using the full dive equipment in their rooms. There is a dedicated server for the hotel, but it is unclear if the opposing team is staying at the same hotel. They plan to log in at 10 o'clock, but Katsu and Pencilton plan to log in even earlier. They aim to create a friendly team environment. The protagonist of the light novel found himself unable to reveal his true face during a gaming event, resulting in him being confined to his room to enjoy delicious free food. He decided to try out the game that they will be competing in soon, Galaxia Heroes, burst through a VR device and spent an hour going through the various characters available. He discovered that the physics in the game were impressive, reminiscent of another game called Shanfro. Despite the previous issues faced by full dive games, Shanfro managed to overcome them. The protagonist tried out different characters and narrowed his choices down to 5. Among them were a self-proclaimed samurai named Ranzo, a villain called Cursed Prison, the quick and speedy Meteors, a fairy-like character named Tinkle Pixie, and the projectile-heavy PSY Cyborg Road. These were his top picks for the upcoming battle. As the clock ticks, our protagonist wonders if there's enough time to select a favorite character before joining the game at 10 o'clock. Logging in, they're surprised to instantly match with another player. Despite the opponent being unknown, it's still clear that the upcoming battle won't be easy, and strategy will be key. The game's setting, Chaos City, is a unique amalgamation of a fighting and strategy game with unpredictable NPCs and the chance to acquire the elusive Chaos Cube. It's decided that selecting a high-mobility character could be advantageous, but filling the heroic gauge or villain gauge will be necessary to accomplish the mission. As the protagonist explores the game, they discover that at its core, it's a simulation game, offering countless possibilities to approach the ultimate goal.